To which the Black Swordsman would then respond, "Though you are correct, even with that blasphemous power you stole, you were no match for me. You were still far stronger, at least, than expected. You have earned the right to know my name in your final moments, warrior. My name is Guts, first of the 5 strongest." Guts? The hearing of this name sparks moderate interest in Vegito for some reason, as he briefly lets out, "That name, it sounds familiar. Guts. I will remember that. Maybe one day we can fight again." But the still professional and stone-cold executioner, not interested in comforting the God Killer in any way, would then just respond, "Not in 1 billion years, Vegito. Once I slaughter you here, you will enjoy the other world for less than a second, before I erase you myself from existence. You and I will never meet again, and nor will you ever get to see the Grand Priest or Zeno. You've caused untold damage to this multiverse already. 9 of the 12 universes no longer even have gods or angels to watch over them now. And us members of the strongest will now have to be called in to take their place temporarily." Before the scene shifts to Vegito's severed hand, and the swordsman continues, "And not to mention what lunacy you created in all these timelines you should have never entered. All things must be corrected, and yet again, it will fall to us and the Time Patrol to fix things. I hope you enjoyed your little joyride, but you finally run out of gas." As in a tempered but reserved laugh, knowing still that his time was over, Vegito, trying to make light of the situation, would then say, "Did I really cause that much trouble? Funny, I hadn't noticed. Well, it was a good ride. But hey, at least it took the best of the 5 strongest to take me down in the end. As a saying, my pride can't help but be pleased with that. I heard from Whis once, even the priest was a part of the 5. So if I'd just beaten you, he would have been done for too." No. But almost as if not able to let Vegito die with his fallacies, Guts looks down and reveals coldly, "You couldn't be further from the truth. And honestly, it's too pathetic to watch you go on and not correct you. The 5 strongest in the multiverse used to contain the Daishinkan, but no longer does. I am the first, and by that, I mean I am the weakest. All 4 above me surpass my power. And the Daishinkan, he exists even further beyond than that." No! As suddenly the painful realization of the reality of the matter strikes Vegito at force, as his own weakness in the grand scheme of things is then spread out right before him. In a state of complete denial, he mutters, "That can't be true! But why can't I sense any hesitation in your voice? I trained so long. I made the destroyers and angels look like playthings. And you're telling me I was still so far below Zeno and the Grand Priest? No! What was this all for then?" "Silence! You've said enough, God Killer!" As Guts, no longer willing to wait any longer, grips his blade tight and then, with With the ferocity and anger of all the gods and angels Vegito had slain, Guts then swipes his blade, head on now, straight for the God Killer's neck, with this time no looking back. Huh? What? But just as he reaches mid-swing, something catches Guts' eye from behind that he just cannot ignore. What is that? As unbelievably out of nowhere, the Majin Buu we had all completely forgotten about rises as a wave of pink goo, right behind Guts, ready to make one of the 5 strongest his own. Which all happens so fast, mid-swing, Guts instantly vanishes, saving himself from whatever this stranger with God Ki was. Boo! Leaving Vegito also shocked, but unable to process yet whether this was a good thing or a bad thing. But with Boo missing the first, he instead slams onto the body of the downed Ultravegito. His torso, severed legs, and hand included, as it seems Vegito may have just fell to an even worse fate in the end. No! As in the end, slowly but surely, all of Vegito then becomes one with Boo, as his lifeless legs move further and further into the pink goo. Eventually, we see high in the air where Guts had reappeared, far and away from any danger as he stares down at the pink vicious mess on the ground in confusion. As he looks on disgusted, he thinks to himself, what just happened? What was that? A creature from this planet? Impossible. Its ki felt divine, ancient, like it had been around even before my time. And now what? It seems to be feeding on the God Killer. Did it just steal my kill? Before soon enough, we all observe as the mass of pink goo condenses down into what seems like a small circle. Too small to be fitting the entirety of Vegito's body. And the swordsman, too, watching from above, also makes his own deductions as he says, It actually appears that whatever that thing is, it is killing him. I can sense Vegito's life force fading away quickly. Sorry, God Killer, but it seems karma predestined you a fate even more gruesome than I had intended. How fitting. The same planet you fought to avenge is the same on which you will die. My job here is done, even if I didn't manage to retrieve those time rings. And Guts, thinking he has eliminated his target, just as the Grand Priest had requested, he then begins flying further into the air, before totally turning his body and flying off back from wherever he first came. Just thinking, that God Killer, his power was something else. To think mortals could not only possess God Ki, but find a way to take it from true gods too. But as Guts leaves, a new development begins back with Boo as the blob begins to move, before then rising up slowly into a human-sized statue of pink sludge. Until finally, a pair of familiar feet and familiar gloves then reaches out of the goo as if the goo itself was formulating the figure. As shockingly, in the aftermath of everything, once the pink goo had fully molded itself, Majin Buu finally appears once again, now unbelievably clad in Vegito's full gi. Gloves and footwear all repaired, at first seeming his usual dead silent self until... Boo won! I told you! You should have never messed with me, human! As the new Ultra Boo then suddenly bursts out in a maniacal laugh that not only fits what we once knew of Boo in the original timeline, but of course, that of Ultravegito too. Whoa! Boo's back! Did he just absorb the other guy? Gosh, I wonder how strong he is now. Leaving Goku from far away shocked at what he's seeing, with a hint of sane curiosity over his strength. While... Kakarot! This isn't good, you clown! He was out of our league already, but now if he has that other one's power too! While the Supreme Kai, who is far more fearful and full of dread over the situation than anyone else, just steps back whispering, "No, it's too late. I failed as Supreme Kai. Not even Beerus could beat this Boo now, and I let it happen. We need to leave." What now? As finally the swordsman is last to react to the loud roar and power of the new Boo, as he then realizes, wait a minute, this energy, it's the same as the God Killers. No, it's even greater! Immediately then vanishing, and then reappearing back on the ground confidently before the powered up Boo. Boo, noticing himself the swordsman, which he knows to be no pushover, then immediately returns to quiet, though Black Lightning continues to surround him along with his monstrous new aura. Then inquiring, what do you want? You want to fight Boo too? To which the cold as ice Guts would say back, well, that depends. Boo is your name, you say? Tell me who you are, because that key you possess is not something from this low-level planet. And most importantly, tell me if you're a danger to this universe, because if so, I will have to end you here. But hearing this in almost classic Godkiller style, the new Boo begins to chuckle, but not for the reasons we'd expect, as he says with a smile, finally, someone on this planet who hasn't got violence on their mind 24/7. No, I am no danger to this planet, let alone universe. Boo seek peace, quiet, and food. Now, if that is all settled, I will see you, But for some reason, Boo's peaceful speech is then instantly cut short, as he looks to the sky with wide eyes, as if his body is frozen in place. Oh! No! Not you again! As he yells loudly, still in the same position, until we peer deep within the confines of Boo into his inner workings and finally find Ultravegito, of course trapped within the body of Boo, unconscious and encased in a thick, meaty, brain-like pod that resembles a strange Scotch egg. And as we zoom in on his uncharacteristically calm face, we see though he is completely silent, he remains in his final form until... Within a flash, Ultravegito the God Killer opens his eyes once more, with his signature sound of his black eye ringing through. No! Stop it! And once more the new Majin Buu is left to react in confusion again until... The creature screams to the heavens themselves in intense pain as if he is being murdered from the inside. As he then suddenly slams his own hands onto his face in terror, as if trying his best to stop something exploding outwards. Immediately in the process of doing this, Ultra Boo releases a flurry of energy once more, so much so it even momentarily blows back the first. Until eventually, looking on with a puzzled look, Guts thinks, "What now? What's happening to this thing? This power level is reaching dangerous levels. It's reminding me of..." But as Guts thinks deeply on what's happening before his eyes, Ultra Boo's arms finally drop down as his groans quieten down. Whatever was happening to him has finally stopped, but just what was the result? Well, hello there! Funny seeing you again, Guts! As shockingly, it is finally revealed that Ultra Boo had then morphed into a spitting image of Vegito himself, complete with his voice and personality. But how? His margin symbol even missing, as Vegito now becomes a literal margin. You're back! How? Causing even the normally cool and collected swordsman to stumble back in absolute disbelief, as he questions further. Why are you back in one piece? Why are you fully healed? Where is Boo? Leaving the God Killer to just giggle in classic style as he then begins to finally explain. Well, it's simple, Mr. First of the Five Strongest. Boo is me now. Just as Bobbity's margin seal had no effect on controlling me, so did Margin Boo's attempt at making me a part of him. My willpower alone turned the tables, and now Boo is a part of me. How ridiculous! I knew I should have taken that blob out! Leading to Guts immediately swinging his blade up in anger as he continues. Take as many beings as you want into you! If this job is not done yet, then I'll simply just do it again! As without warning, Guts, with pinpoint precision and intense speed, slices through Vegito once again, in almost the exact same fashion, and once again, Vegito is left in two pieces. No! No! Not again! Just kidding. As in a sudden, inexplicable shift of tone and mannerisms, Vegito begins smiling dastardly, and without pain, despite visibly having just been cut in half. What a glorious ability this Boo has! Utterly amazing! As unbelievably we then get to see the true confirmation of what Vegito had said about becoming Boo himself, as almost immediately, flakes of pink goo begin bridging the two parts of Vegito's body, regenerating him instantly as if he was never cut in the first place. What? What sorcery is this? God Killer, what are you? But his yelling contempt is interrupted with lightning speed, as Vegito finally lands a punch on the swordsman, even wielding a smile as he says, I think I'm just about done listening to your screams, mister. I think it's high time you went to sleep. as immediately, with just that simple jab, the power it unleashes sends the legendary first of the 5 strongest crashing through multiple mountains to a thunderous collision against the final wall. Once again alarming the totally ceased in disbelief Supreme Kai, who lets out, That's a Saiyan? He just landed an attack on one of the 5! That can't be possible. It said even the Grand Priest considers them near his level. As when we return back to Guts, he lies sat with his sword stabbed into the ground, having used it to forcefully stop him flying any further back, as he then thinks, his power and speed. This is on a whole new level than before. But why? Just what was that creature from before? And why has it made such a difference? It's almost like his power has been multiplied. But whatever this is, I cannot let him touch me again. That will be the last of his demonic hands dirtying my being. Dirtying your being? When was the last time you even washed that armor, you pile of junk? As suddenly, an extremely familiar and witty voice we all know calls from afar. And of course, when Guts finally does turn around, it is revealed to be none other than Ultravegito standing behind on a distant mountaintop. Quickly, Guts in response then jumps back to gain further distance and survey the situation better. Before internally he thinks, his presence, I can hardly detect it now. His speed, it's so fast, I can never tell where he is at any one time anymore. Something has happened to him. Did he truly become what he warned me of? But as we zoom in closer, we see the Saiyan standing tall with his arms folded and looking down smugly saying, Oh, you poor fool. I bet your mind can hardly compute what's going on now, can it? It's simple really though. I am not the same man you fought earlier. I am now the most powerful Boo in history. I've tossed away my humanity in order to kill the likes of you and your damn leader. Not the biggest leap though, after becoming part android. But for the sake of delivering justice, I will do anything. Before the more wide smile, he continues on, Tremble, for I am no longer this feeble mortal you gods love to keep calling me. I am something far scarier. A monster. A thing of nightmares that will now add you to my collection of souls. Come here and give me your energy, swordsman. As Vegito then slowly lifts up one finger in what looks like a very familiar scene to OG Dragon Ball Z fans. And then immediately coats the finger in its very own aura as he goads the legendary warrior. Accept your fate, Guts. Just try and slice me up. You will see firsthand just how large the gap between us is now. And all I'll need is this one finger to stop you. What? This total disrespect, of course, not going down well at all with Guts, as he stands astonished at Vegito's insolence, after only just minutes earlier being on the foot of death. As he yells, One finger? This damn demon now thinks so little of me to bluff so sparingly. How dare you! I shall show you why the Blade of Destruction is feared even by the demons! Immediately rushing in at the still overconfident Vegito, while Vegito just stands motionless with a smile commenting, "Feared by the demons, you say? What an interesting tidbit of information, my friend." Until finally, Guts swings his blade with full might, but unbelievably, with a metallic clang, Vegito does indeed stop the blade with just his finger alone. And on, not believing this to be possible, Guts would try his luck over and over, chopping away at Vegito as the God Killer moves his finger in synchronicity, blocking each and every swipe. Impossible! Eventually leaving the tired from fatigue Guts to just finally stop and stare, not being able to even comprehend what is even happening now, as he thinks, "This is the Blade of Destruction! One of the legendary demon emperors resides within this sword! How could a mortal so easily withstand such a weapon?" But Vegito, now taking his own turn, is quick to already cock back his own right fist and striking the swordsman square in the chest, sending Guts flying back as a result, as the impact makes itself shown. As the callous Vegito, filled with ominous aura, would then say, "A legendary demon emperor within that sword? What an interesting thing to say. And you believe for some reason these demon emperors would have some effect on me? I don't know how strong those things are supposed to be, but a possible explanation for why they don't affect me is because now I too am a demon!" As Vegito, with a truly frightening look, then lets out a chilling line, just like he did once before, and yet again, as he says this playful joke, behind him, the silhouette of what looks like a true devil-formed creature appears right behind him. Demon! Instantly shell-shocking Guts like never before, as he stays stunned with his eyes wide open, and he begins to mutter, "No, this feeling I'm getting, it cannot be. This mortal, is he the second coming of Lucifer? For the sake of Zeno, no, for the sake of the entire multiverse, I must stop him here and now!" Giving the Black Swordsman no choice now but to unleash his maximum power, unleashing a truly godly amount of ki and power that we had never seen the likes of, far beyond any angel and any destroyer could even dream of, as somehow the Earth manages to contain it without exploding. From a distance, all we can see is a massive beam of ki shooting into space, as waves and waves of thunderous wind and debris blow all over the island. While Vegito, now losing his smile and looking on seriously as he respects what he sees, then comments, "So, he's finally showing his true power. The power of the 5 strongest. This will be my greatest test yet." And just like that, as if they were on a time limit, the two monstrous warriors rush in at each other to give the universe a battle of more power than it had ever seen since the dawn of creation, as Vegito, covered in his signature black lightning, launches with fury in his eyes, while Guts, now almost ripping his mask as his teeth are bared, screams as he shoots towards the God Killer. But Vegito starts off the exchange throwing an energy beam straight at Guts while he rushes forward. This again? I'll just dodge it again and... But as the beam finally reaches him, Guts finds himself forcefully having to deflect it with his blade, as the fragmented parts shoot behind him to create explosions in the background. Inside thinking, damn it, even his energy blasts are far more powerful and intense than before. I have to fight everything head on now. And with that said, Guts continues his forward assault, massive sword in hand and conviction on his mind to end the God Killer once and for all. All the while, Vegito already begins preemptively shifting his body backwards. But as we see multiple after images of Guts' arm and sword slicing in all directions trying to get a stab at the God Killer, so too do we see multiple after images of a smiling Vegito too, effortlessly dodging every swipe as if dodging attacks from Yamcha. Why won't you die already? And eventually, as more and more of Guts' efforts go unrewarded, he finally resorts to pure rage, as his muscles visibly bulk up with veins protruding on his biceps. With a terrifying yell, brings down his sword harshly one final time. As instantly, despite the monstrous pulling down on the sharp-edged blade, it stops right in front of Vegito, stone cold and not moving an inch closer to cutting through the God Killer. Is that all? Maybe this was a butter knife after all. As Vegito is then chillingly revealed to have stopped the entire force of the blade with just his bare hands alone, still smiling and not with a single sweat broken. My turn! But done with the humiliation, Vegito finally showcases his own power and speed, and instantly, with a foot that rises out of nowhere, Guts is uppercutted straight into the sky. And as soon as he does so, Vegito begins powering yet another surprise, as within his right hand, the God Slayer energy blade is engaged once more before... In a shocking sight, Vegito then slices straight through the sword-wielding arm of Guts. With such speed, precision, and unexpected surprise, even the Black Swordsman is left watching for a moment, completely taken by shock until... What? What have you done, demon? As finally the pain and horror of the situation hits the legendary member of the Five. Probably the first in history he would ever have to draw blood, and one of the only times he would forcibly be separated from his divine blade. No! My blade of destruction! I had no choice. I must wield it with my weaker arm now! As finally the hand begins to separate from Guts' body, automatically opening its clasp, simultaneously freeing the sword, while Guts in the same moment desperately attempts to grab it with his last remaining arm. And eventually, the legendary sword is caught once again, firm and safely. But unfortunately not by Guts, and instead by our hero, Ultravegito the God Killer, as he comments, "Whoa, This is a heavy one. Even heavier than the Z-Sword. No! Give that back now! You will pay 1,000-fold if you take even one swing of that blade! I warn you! You have no idea what lurks within! Leaving the damaged Guts to grab onto his bleeding stump of an arm while yelling in complete panic at Vegito. But the God Killer, totally unfazed and disregarding Guts' pleas, just swings the blade down and says, "What lurks within, huh? You did mention something about a demon emperor, didn't you? Well, hopefully, just like the Z-Sword, once I break this thing in half, slamming it on your forehead, maybe this little devil will come out for me. Because Lord knows, I need a new challenge after facing a weakling like you." When did you... And suddenly, just as soon as Vegito had said this, as if using instant transmission without a hand sign, Vegito suddenly then appears right in front of Guts, face to face, as the God Killer lets out, "Sorry if this makes you feel uncomfortable. I just wanted to see the fear in your eyes before I kill you." And for a moment, there is a deathly silence as neither side moves, one not moving due to being so paralyzed in fear, while the other doesn't make a move in an act of intimidation until... Blade of Destruction! Vegito, with his mouth wide open, then yells out the words only previously uttered by Guts, activating the destroyer powers of the sword and... immediately then making perfect use of the sword he just stole, effortlessly swiping in all directions, but perfectly slicing through 4 particular spots. As in the aftermath, we then see where those spots were, as in a horrific scene with blood-curdling screams. Guts, the Master Swordsman and legendary member of the Five, has both his arms and legs cut off instantly, and all by his own beloved sword, as with a look of pure astonishment he can only mutter as the blood pours out. My sword, what have you done? While each of his cut off limbs, under the power of the Blade of Destruction, immediately then begin to erase, also, one by one. In the end though, Vegito does not give his victim so much as a glance, as he stares into the stolen sword and says, Not bad at all. Seems this blade can not only repel destruction power, but it can wield it too. Thanks for the gift, my friend. You're too kind. But there's one more thing I want to take from you. I hope you don't mind. As Vegito then slowly but surely begins taking measured steps towards the first. As Guts, now flat on the ground helpless, just murmurs, "No! Stay away! Stay away, you demon!" Leaving Vegito to eventually stand above the helpless swordsman, looking down as he goes, Now, don't be like that. I thought we were starting to become friends. Now, before I take that energy of yours, do you have any last words, Guts?" As Vegito then slowly brings his grip right for the throat of the swordsman, leaving Guts to panic and yell, watching helplessly, You keep your filthy hands off me, God Killer! Fitting final words for such a weakling, Guts! As instantly, Vegito cuts short the final remarks and grabs Guts hard, beginning his energy absorption immediately as black aura seeps deep into his skin. And with Guts having so much more energy than any god and angel before him, the process is not fast, allowing him to yell in terror as it happens. Oh my! And Vegito, absorbing the energy for the longest time he's ever had to, then comments with a grin, "This power, it's unbelievable! It's never ending. You are so far beyond anyone I have ever fought before. And this energy is going to take me to a whole new level. Keep going! Give me everything you have, Guts!" As Vegito, in a greedy rage, raises the swordsman's entire body up into the air, as if he were a water bottle with some final drops of water to shake out. Your energy is mine! As even Vegito soon begins to struggle, taking in the unfathomable amount of ancient energy and power coming from the first of the 5 strongest. His teeth gritted as his body struggles to contain it all. But eventually, everything is taken. And with Vegito grabbing so hard, at the very end, he snaps the swordsman's neck too, killing him instantly in the process. Tossing his now lifeless body to the ground as if it were a piece of trash. Before, now left standing, looking into the palm of his left hand, now covered in its own black lightning, overflowing with energy like never before, a smile creeps across the God Killer's face, as he then comments, "So, this is the kind of power I must wield to defeat those two. What an amazing feeling. What a rush. I've never felt anything like this before. I need more!" As immediately out of nowhere, Vegito then screamed at the top of his voice as all the incredible energy within him begins to explode outwards. It doesn't end there as the aura becomes larger and larger and in rapid timing. And from a distance, eventually we see a dome of energy encompassing nearly the entire island beginning to generate from Vegito alone. It even almost appears as though Vegito is self-destructing from the power. But unfortunately, he's not the only one there. What? No! Everyone, get out! As the Z Fighters too, despite their huge distance away, all become lost in the light of Vegito's almighty new level of power. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Vegito in the comments down below and let me know what you think of Vegito's newfound power now that he's eliminated even the first of the 5. Or just head over to my Patreon right now where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked and edited for you to enjoy with over 3,600 other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fanmongers too. It's the deal of the century.